doing an overview recap of my 2004 Subaru Impreza WRX, of what I've done to it so far and what we need to do to get it up to my performance standards. So let's just start with when I bought the car. It had the catback that is on it currently right now. It has the catless up pipe that is also still currently on the car, but it did have a different short block in the car when I bought it, since I blew the motor like maybe 6 months later or 5 months later, I don't know, something like that. Also, when I did buy the car, I did have this ECU. I was on a different ECU for a little bit. It was just another stock one, but it had a really bad tune, and the car was actually burning a lot of oil, constantly having like black smoke coming out the back. And aesthetically, everything was the same except the back taillights, or I guess just the taillights, were all smoked out really, really dark. And we had a video cleaning those up. If you haven't seen that, you can go check it out. But yeah, they were just blacked out, and I hated that look. I did not like it at all. So we cleaned that up and made it look a lot cleaner. So first things first, pretty much first thing I did was replace the motor, since it ended up spinning a rod bearing. So I got a brand new OEM short block from Subaru. That then I got some rebuilt heads, and that whole setup is kind of worked for me. It is low on compression, but it's not uneven compression. So what that means is, like, since all the cylinders still have the same even amount, even though they are low, I should be able to push okay power with it. So I got the new block, and everything I did with the new one consisted of a little bit bigger oil pump, an 11mm versus the stock 10. I did have a 2.5 oil pan apparently on the car when I bought it, and when I took it to a shop to get the heads mounted and everything, they put a 2-liter pan on. So I mean, I guess that's good, because now it has a 2.0 pan for a 2.0 block. But I would have preferred to have the 2.5, just because then you can run the better pickup that Killer B makes. But I can just buy the whole setup from them, and we'll run that instead, so that's okay. Obviously, I did a new timing belt and water pump, the new like pulleys and bearings and everything. I think that's pretty much it for the just like pure motor. One thing I forgot to mention is the clutch and flywheel setup on the car. I'm running an Exedy Stage 1 heavy duty organic disc clutch, and then a competition clutch lightweight flywheel. So it's a lightweight flywheel by competition clutch. I love this setup. It's really good. The pedal feel is pretty, like, relatively heavy for comparing to new cars that all have that like kind of just dead pedal feel. It's pretty springy, but it does grab very well. I could honestly just let it out really slow and just give it just a tiny bit of gas and we'd be going, versus a clutch where you'd have to be kind of revving it throughout to get it to grab and go. It's very simple. I love it. Really easy to use. I feel like for anyone that has driven manual before and is kind of used to, I guess, a heavier clutch setup, it's really easy for anyone to kind of hop in and just drive the car. So that's one thing I forgot. Back to the normal video. I ended up going with 2 turbos essentially. I went with what I thought was a VF 46 or 48. I think I'm on a 48 right now. I think I went with a VF 46, which is supposed to be the Hawkeye, the 2006 STI turbo. That turbo was having some problems for me, like the whole face plate was like shifting, and it just, I don't know, it was like a whole thing. I'm gonna do a video on tearing down that turbo and like seeing if I can fix it. So that was a problem. So I ended up getting a new turbo, which is the VF 48, which is off a 2017 STI. Like on my way up to get tuned before I did end up changing that turbo, I was running what I thought were either WRX or Injector Dynamics 1000cc injectors, and then I was still running coil packs off of my old block, but I did get new NGK Iridium spark plugs. So there was that whole process of, I pretty much had new plugs, injectors that were new to me, and then I still had the stock coil packs. So going from there, I went up to Massachusetts to get it tuned, by Bren Tuning that has tuned Adam's STI, which we actually just did a video on. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. He made some awesome power, and his car is just really insane right now with all the new stuff he ended up doing to it. So make sure you go check that out. Those guys are really awesome out there. So what they did for me was they gave me, well, they didn't give me, nothing's free. They hooked me up with that VF48 turbo off a 2017 STI, along with 565, I think the STI injectors are, off of, I think, either the same STI or 2015. And then also, just because my coil packs that I had when I bought the car were all kind of mismatched, they got, I think those were the 2015, so I got the coil packs off of a 2015 STI, so now they're all matching, giving the proper spark amount to that spark plug, if that makes sense. I'm not exactly sure how that works. So pretty much since then, and since they switched those injectors, because the ones I had, just I guess the way they described, weren't seating properly, so they weren't giving the proper amount of fuel that they were supposed to be giving. So I think essentially what happened was the car was running super rich the whole way up there, especially being on highway miles, of it just being constant. I built up a ton of carbon is what I'm thinking, because they did a bore scope and said it was just really disgusting, a lot of carbon in there. And then they switched out those injectors. I took the car back, and they were thinking that I'd need a whole overhaul of the engine, pretty much just new everything, just because they're this doesn't look right, nothing's seeming like it's performing properly. So I took it back. I've just been driving it around very carefully, and then I'd say maybe 3,000, maybe even 5,000 miles after seeing them, or it could have been even more, I'm not exactly sure. I went to Ian, our buddy Ian, who works at Subaru. I had him do a bore scope because I never got to see what Bren saw, and I wanted to see for myself. And when we looked in there, actually everything looked pretty clean. So I'm wondering if by having those new injectors, it just cleaned everything up. So now we're running all that. Everything seems to be actually running fine. I did have that little scare on our way out to WBM, but that seemed to be fixed with just a little bit of a coolant top off. It wasn't that low. It was just really weird. But the plan is now, so that's everything that's been done to the car. I have that VF48 turbo, the bigger oil pump, coil packs, injectors, short block, spark plugs. Pretty much I did all of that, and we should be good to go. I'm running Shell Rotella T6 oil in the car. Also, I don't know if many of you guys know this. Okay, I don't know if you heard that. That was pretty gnarly. When I did have the motor out of the car, I did a little bit of engine bay cleanup, but along with that, I did new oils and fluids for my differential and the transmission and the differential. I'm running, I don't know what the weight was, but I'm running AMS oil in the diff and Redline in the transmission. So I think that's a really important thing to try to change, especially with how many miles my car had on it, and with the convenience of the engine being out and it just kind of being really light and easy to work on. It's something that I thought was very important to do. So I pretty much refreshed everything up until this point, and I'm thinking that what we need next is just a refreshed tune from Bren, seeing if they can refine the car now that it's seeming to perform more normally. And that would be really awesome, because it feels like it's got the capability to get the power that we're looking for. I do have one more mod that I'm looking at. Wow, I completely forgot one thing. So when I did go get tuned, and since that whole rebuild process, I went from the stock fuel pump to that Walbro 255. And then those of you that know me know that on my way back from school one day, the 255 crapped out and I was stuck on the side of the road. That led me to buying the WRX 300 or 200C at WBM, and I put that in recently, which you guys also just saw that video. So I've got a whole great setup going on right now, and I think the next mod is an intercooler. and only because since Adam just went to get tuned and he swapped his out to a bigger top mount, I might be buying his STI intercooler off of him. Just a little bit bigger. I think the core is a little bit bigger as well. So I'm going to be swapping out to that. If that's like, I'm going to talk to Brent if they seem like that's a good idea, which I think it is, because then it would be just a bunch of STI parts that all are going to work well together. I think that would be really cool. And then I want to get an updated tune from them. I'm going to be doing a process called e-tuning, where they're going to send me a tune. I'm going to do some data logging, do a couple pulls, send them that log. They'll refine the tune some more, and then we'll pretty much just keep repeating that process. And all that does is like, it's pretty much a live street tune, just without the tuner being there. So you do some pulls on a tune that they send you that they think is safe, send them the reports from that tune, and then they just keep refining it. I'm not sure how many times you go back and forth, but it just keeps getting more and more refined. Obviously, a dyno is probably a little bit better because they can be there and just tune it all the way to perfection the whole time, while going through an e-tune, you're probably just going to get as close to as perfection as you can. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait. This turbo seems like it really could push a good amount of power. I know with Adams, he's able to push around like 20 pounds of boost, which on the daily I push at like 3. Like, I really don't push this car at all, and I'd love to get on it some more. So that would be really awesome if I could be capable of pushing 20 pounds, or at least maybe even like 15. So that's everything that has happened and are kind of small steps forward of future plans. If you guys are interested in some more of what I want to know, I'll talk a little bit about, I'll just hint at some extra things, but we can do a podcast on mine and Jordan's future plans for our cars. But pretty much for me, after I get this to that slightly, you know, as reliable as the Subaru can be, once I get it to that point, I really want to finish the exterior of the car. So as you guys know, we have been doing tons of body work and everything in that kind of manner. And my plan would be, if I, like, obviously I would need wheels and tires. I'm running Adams STI wheels right now, which I do love the fitment and the look of these wheels, but I really don't want to always be running spacers and borrowing wheels. It's just not kind of how I want to go, and I really want to put my own personal touch on it. So if I don't flare the car, I want to get a nice set of wheels and tires that fit this body how it is. And then I do want to do a bunch of extra little like JDM pieces on like side skirts, diffuser, the front bumper, and like lips, and just stuff like that, just to give it that extra little flair and help diversify it from other people on the internet and just people around here that I see. So I can talk about that all day. I have a list that costs me about like $12,000 of things I'd love to do to this car. So we can talk all day about that, but we're not going to. So that's just like the short, like not even short term, that's just like little things I'm thinking about doing soon. I will throw it out there now. I would like to put this car on air at some point. So if any of you guys know deals or people that can hook me up with a nice air ride setup and like tank in the back, that would be really cool, because that's something that I don't see a lot around here, and I would really love to experience in this car, especially comparing that Jordan's on STI suspension and Adams on STI suspension with lowering springs. I guess they both kind of run the same setup, but I'd love to feel the difference between the rides. So if anyone knows, hit me up. I'm really not in the budget for it now, but I would like to start researching so that when I can, I will. As far as a motor setup, if you guys are interested, I would rather go into that in a longer video of a podcast where I'm not driving around and we can just focus, and I can go down a list of things I would actually like to do. Same with Jordan. So if you guys are interested in that, please leave it down below that we should make a podcast for that, and we will. Oh wow, the road is closed up here, so I gotta go a different way. Also, me and Ryan have been talking about doing like, not necessarily challenge videos, but some more non-car related fun videos, and let us know also with that if that's something that you guys would be interested in seeing, because I just like having fun. As much as I love modding cars and all that, I feel like you guys would enjoy, as well as us, having a different layout of a video, just seeing us hanging out as friends versus just always working on cars. So if that's something you're interested, just leave a comment down below or leave a like, and we'll definitely get on that, because that's something that I think would be really fun to just kind of change up the pace on the channel. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. If you have any questions about anything I said throughout the video about my car, I'll be glad to answer them. Leave a comment, and as soon as I see that you left a comment or get the notification, I'll try to respond as quickly as possible to clarify or answer any of your questions about my car. So we'll catch you next time. Make sure to follow us on all the social media and check out our website, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out and stay wicked.